Birds win. Birds win 25-11 over the Bucks. Now 3-0 on the season. Eagles, Niners, Dolphins, the lone undefeated teams still standing in the NFL. All right, Gunners, let's set our sights now on the defense. You look at what they did last night. So Tampa Bay, 174 net yards in the game. They rushed 17 times for 41 yards. That is less than 2.5 yards per carry. In fact, it's 2.4 yards per carry. We mentioned a little bit earlier, Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis up front. So let's dig into them first, and then we'll get into some of the other things that we need to get into. But what's crazy is, Derek, you've seen a guy take a spectacular leap from year one to year two in Jordan Davis. And you're seeing someone in Jalen Carter who came in absolutely NFL ready, who is now, and I've seen guys like Ed Werder and guys who have covered the league for a long, long time that don't cover the Eagles and aren't connected to the Eagles, talking about how he is becoming a defensive force in this league. You talk about two guys who not only now, the other thing about Carter is, Derek, he's turned himself into a three-dimensional player. Like, he doesn't have to come off the field. He's very good. He's not just a run stuffer. We hoped he was going to be. He's crushing it in the passing game also with pressure.
We're 3 games into his tenure, Rob, and we're still trying to come up with new superlatives to talk about his play. We still have 14 games to watch this young man emerge.
Yeah. And
I'm dumbfounded in some ways just watching how advanced he is in such a short amount of time.
And you talking Carter or Davis?
No, I'm talking about Carter right now.
Okay.
He's so far advanced for a guy who had very little preseason practices and games. He's a man among men already. Now, when you talk about, I honestly believe, here's what I believe about Jordan Davis. I think him being surrounded by more Bulldogs has helped him be more comfortable to get back to who he was in college.
Yep.
I truly believe that. He's got his boys with him, his contingent with him. And I think when he's in a city, when Jordan Davis is in a city, that he found out real quick, they embrace you, but they will harshly critique you from one moment to the next. There's no question about that. And I think somewhere along the line that motivated him during the offseason. Because when Jordan Davis said this summer that he's still 340 pounds, what's the first thing we said was, oh, geez, I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be as effective. He didn't lose weight. We kept saying he needed to be 325, 330.
Right.
Dude, he's better. He's better now. He's more explosive. He's more powerful. He's dominating line of scrimmages. 2 men cannot stand him up. He's turning 2 offensive line. That's 600 pounds on the average that he's turning. Mm-hmm. They're not turning him. He's turning them.
Right.
And forcing help elsewhere. I'm just blown away by how quickly his transformation has taken place.
I can't believe it either. I was just hoping he was going to be really good against the run, and then the pass stuff will come along. That's all I was hoping. But you're right. Because he's still 340, but he's in better shape. He's not gassed at the end of the game. He's still playing in the fourth quarter. You're seeing the strength and what did he run in the 40? Like 4.7 or something insane?
4.6, 4.7.
So you're seeing that quick twitch that he has because he's an athlete. He's not just some blob in the middle who's just eating things up. It's all there. It's all there as well for Carter. I agree with you. I think having Bulldogs around him has been good. I think they're pushing each other. I think he's also a little edgier. Maybe he's, we love that he's a nice guy, but he's playing with more of a nastiness to him, which is exactly what he needed.
I don't know if it's a coaching. I don't know if Desai and Patricia identified something in him that Gannon did not. I don't know if it's just being a year older makes him a year wiser. I don't know if Fletcher Cox has somehow mentored him to another level. Whatever it is, and like I said initially, maybe it's just the fact he's more comfortable surrounded by by a bunch of his dogs from Georgia.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
or maybe let's give credit to him. Maybe the guy just worked his tail off in the offseason.
I think that's a big part of it also. I think he understands now. You're not in the college anymore. You're getting paid to play.
Yeah.
And the criticism is even harsher at this level than it is at the collegiate level. And let's face it, you're in a very dominant football college in Georgia.
Right.
You know they critique you hard down there. But at this next level at the NFL, the criticism increases when you don't live up to expectation, and you're in a city like Philadelphia. When you're in cities like Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, even Dallas, your expectation, you might have been a glamour boy in college, but you've got to prove it all over again at this level.
Yep.
Because if not, people equate your success by the money you make.
And where you were drafted at the money you make. Exactly.
There you go. If you're one of the highest paid players, you're expected to perform like one of the highest athletic entities in your profession. If you don't, you open yourself up to more criticism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prime example, Zach Wilson.
Number 2 overall pick.
Where was he? Where was he? Number 2? $30-something million. Now, granted, all these scouts and the team that picked you that high are just as much as fault as you are. Somebody misevaluated this kid. Badly.
Yep.
And now he is the butt of jokes from New York every day of the week, even in the offseason.
Wait to hear what Joe Namath. We're going to give you that later. Joe Namath went nuts on him the other.
I can't wait to hear what Joe said. I didn't get to hear it. I was trying to listen to it in my car, and my phone kept ringing and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't get to hear what Joe said. But if Joe Namath, who is Mr. Jet, Joe Namath is on a pedestal with the Jets organization and in the city of New York. There's only a few players on that pedestal. Lawrence Taylor, Joe Namath. There's only a handful that are at that pinnacle of that pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
When Joe Namath speaks, it's like that old E.F. Hutton commercial. When Joe Namath speaks, people listen.
Yes.
And basically, Joe came out finally. I bet Joe was trying to be as diplomatic as he possibly could.
And he couldn't take it anymore.
He couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
And now that Joe Namath has said it, I bet you every airwaves in New York City, every sports talk show, every television show is talking about what Joe Namath said.
No question. There's no question. But all right, so those two have been a dominant force for sure. They're number 1 against the run as a team, allowing 48.3 yards per game on the ground. They're number 9 in points per game at 19.7, which is, a solid number for sure. I mean, you're in the top 10. So they're tied there. The other one is, Derek, they're doing exactly what they did for the real first probably 3 quarters of the season last year. They're taking the ball away at a very high rate.
Yes.
They have 8 forced turnovers right now by the defense and a safety on top of that.
Yep.
So they're crushing you in the run game. They're taking the ball away. Look, the passing numbers are not going to knock your socks off, but some of that's understandable. You lost people in the back end, namely Avonte Maddox. You didn't have Bradbury last week, so it's a little bit more understandable what's going on there. I think that's somewhat of a work in progress because you're a little bit younger in certain spots. Props to Bradbury. He filled in the slot last night. He did, whatever they need him to do, he does. You threw Job out there who, got beat a couple times, but Josh Jobe looks like he can play.
Yes.
And
I will say this.
Yeah.
I do not want to see Bradbury in the slot. I'm sorry.
I didn't want to see it last night. I wanted him on Evans the whole night, but
I don't want to see him in the slot, period. Usually a slot corner is a smaller, quick twitch type corner.
Right.
I think he's too long. I think he's better suited on the outside combating these taller receivers. I don't want to see him chasing rabbits in the slot. I don't.
I got you.
That's not his forte.
Yeah.
Malcolm Jenkins could do it. He can go back, he can come out. That's different. But watching James Bradbury trying to trail these guys once they stick their foot in the ground and go, I don't want to see Bradbury doing it. Keep him on the outside. Groom somebody else. I was shocked Goodrich was inactive. He was a healthy scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be your slot corner last night.
Yes.
But he wasn't. I don't want to see Bradbury. Leave Bradbury on the outside to combat these bigger guys.
Yes.
That's where he is. That's his forte.
I agree with you. Look, I agree with you ultimately. Really like what you're seeing from Blankenship. He, as you mentioned earlier, Derek, he had the nice read on the pick last night, had a great open field tackle, had 7 tackles, had a tackle for a loss as well. He's playing well. Guys, Zach Cunningham was on the street. He's played well 2 straight games. He had a tough first game. Nicholas Morrow's coming up and making plays for you. All you need is just guys to solidify the linebacker spot. You know, you got to hold the fort a little bit until Nakobe Dean comes back. And I feel like, you know, last 2 games, those guys have done that for them.
No question about it. I love what I'm seeing from Blankenship in particular. His anticipation, a sure tackler, hasn't made many mistakes. Now, granted, he lost some time because of that rib injury, but in the small samples we've seen him so far, I think he makes this organization feel very comfortable about that position. He's a heady player, instinctive. May not be the fastest guy, but so what? You don't always have to be the fastest guy to play a position. If you play your angles right, if you have great anticipation, it could cover up a lot of things that you might not have. And right now, from what we've seen of Blankenship, he has all those attributes. He's very instinctive. I can't get it. That one play, I'm still looking at it. You see him when they show the replay. You see him creep into the line of scrimmage.
Right.
As soon as the runner gets the ball, he knows exactly what a runner is. He's standing there waiting for him. And you know what? 5 times out of 10, when you think about it, a good running back jukes makes that guy miss the open field like that. Right. Not Blankenship.
Yep.
Dropped him for a loss.
Yeah. It was a heck of a play. It's a hard play for anybody in the open field like that against spectacular athletes in the NFL. So he's playing well. Look, opposing teams 3 games, Derek, 48 rushes, 145 yards. That's a 3-yard per carry average. That's all they're allowing.
Yep.
Okay. 48 yards per game, which is you're making teams so one-dimensional. That's what you're doing. You're taking away that facet altogether for them. They haven't allowed a run longer than 12 yards. Think about that. Like, you haven't been gashed once on the ground.
In 3 games.
Yeah.
Not once. A 12-yard run is the longest run they've allowed so far.
That's it.
Just one. Not multiple, just one.
That's it. So, I mean, they're checking boxes here, but they're also – the back end, after you get past the defensive line, is starting to learn. Now, the other thing is you're doing it without Reddick, really giving you much in terms of, contributions here. You're doing it. I think Sweat's played well. I didn't notice him as much last night. I'm going to watch the game later and pour through it a little bit heavier. But just going off of what I saw last night, I didn't notice him nearly as much. But what I like is, Tui Palatu, some of those guys are really stepping up and making plays for them. And he had the sack last night. And some of the younger guys, Sidney Brown makes a real good breakup on a play. Makes a couple other plays last night that I noticed from him. So they're getting valuable experience now against maybe some of the lesser offenses, which could pay big dividends when they start playing Miami and San Fran and Buffalo and Dallas and those.
That's why I said the schedule was set up perfect for them to get ready for what's to come, because we know that they have a monster schedule coming up in a couple of weeks. And these teams that they're facing now, they're not facing the top quarterbacks in the league. They're not facing real stout defensive personnel. They're facing good schemes, but they're finding a way to find the dents in those schemes. They're not, I want to see AJ Brown go up against Sauce Gardner and the Dolphins secondary. And I want to see this passing game go up against Buffalo secondary with Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer back there. I want to see that. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's when we really find out where this team is. When they face the 49ers, I want to see them play Brock Purdy, Mr. Brock Purdy. I want to see them play the 49ers at full strength with all their complementary weapons on both sides of the football.
Yeah.
And whether they win or lose, then we can come away having a better understanding of what we're looking at, to be honest.
Well, I think the other thing too, Derek, when it comes to this is we all understand the offense needs to be more multiple. Obviously they're very good on the ground, but they need to be multiple. But what you're doing, where the schedule is set up such that it's allowing you to figure it out as you go, and you're still winning, right on top of it.
You're still winning.
So hopefully, whether it's Washington this week or the Jets or the Rams or the Jets or whatever, by the time you start to hit the nasty part, which is right before the bye,
yes,
everything's kind of clicking here. But you might have Nakobe Dean back by that point, when you start to get into that stretch, on the other side of the ball. So, these are all good signs, I think, in a lot of ways.
When look at how many teams showed flaws and they fell from the ranks of the unbeaten in 1 week. We started week 3 with 9 unbeaten teams. Now there's only 3 left. And there were a lot of wow games this weekend that just shocked you. Dallas losing at Arizona. You know, even Jacksonville getting smoked at home by Houston. You know, Miami putting up 70 points on Denver. Just all these unexpected things that happen. We haven't seen it with the Eagles. Even we're sitting here critiquing a team because we've been spoiled. We were spoiled by their prowess last year. And even though we knew going in, we've talked about it from a fan base, from a media perspective all summer long, it's going to look different. They faced adversity in the first 2 games. They found a way to overcome them. They didn't really face adversity in this game. Mm-hmm. But the first 2 games, they faced adversity. They won the turnover battle. They scored when they had to. They came away with wins. Everybody can't say that in the National Football League through week 3. Mm-hmm. When you're still imperfect or not where you want to be and you're still 3 up and 0 down, you can't be in a better place.
No.
You can't be.
No.
And you're playing with a bunch of kids and you're filling gaps because guys are out. No, the Kobe Dean is out. You know, James Bradbury had to go down. You know, Blankenship went down. You're filling gaps with teams, with people who are learning, evolving as they go along, and you're winning. That's all you have to. That's all you can ask for. You win.
Look, I think that's it, and it's. Everybody acknowledges there's things that need to get better, but you're still winning along the way, and you're setting yourself up for the more difficult stretch here that you get into. But yeah, there's been a lot of good stuff, certainly that you can pull from both sides. We didn't even mention on offense. Nice bounce back for AJ Brown. You know, I'm sure. Obviously, he wasn't happy with the way the last game went, and again, I thought there were a couple balls that Jalen put on him that he maybe should have caught, but nonetheless, you know, he ends up going here 9 for 131, 14.6 yards per carry or per catch. I think it was a quiet night for Devontae. Obviously, I think they're still also trying to figure out Goddard. Like, he was a little bit better last night than the Vikings game, but I don't know that they've quite found the sweet spot with him either yet.
You know, I don't know if you kept the numbers, but what at the rate he's going, what were the numbers we projected that
we had him if he stayed healthy, Derek, in like the 900s in terms of yards? It's not even going to be close.
I don't even think it's going to get close to that, to be honest with you.
No.
And if the team is still rolling, that's okay. And you know, Goddard's going to be frustrated, but Goddard will never make a stink about it in any way, shape, or form. No. You look at Goddard through 3 games, he's only had 15 targets through 3 games. That's only 5 a game. And 11 catches, and he has 63 yards total. Mm-hmm. He's averaging 5.7 yards per carry.
Yeah.
He's not coming close to 900, you know.
Right.
But still, it's 650, 700. If he ends up with 7, 8 touchdowns, and most of them are key points of a game, so be it. Mm-hmm. This is a team that's so loaded and diversified in terms of weapons. Somebody's numbers had to suffer. And that's what, when we did over-under projections, I said I felt A.J. Brown's numbers were going to be under what he achieved, but he's still going to be a vital cog in his offense. Same thing with Devontae Smith. Now that we're watching the emergence of DeAndre Swift, maybe his numbers go up. Maybe he is that 1,000-yard rusher. I saw him as like maybe a 700-yard rusher.
Yeah, you're right. Where you're going to take from somewhere, you add to another place. Else. Yeah, it's a good point.
Maybe. I mean, this dude's had over 130 yards rushing in 2 games. He's in the top 5 in rushing, and he only had 1 touch the first game.
Well, and let's face it, too. You know, I know what I'm going to say is going to sound counterintuitive because Tampa was number 2 against the rush, but there's going to be ebbs and flows. There are going to be other games where you find something in the passing game and you're going to exploit that, and you're going to go crazy throwing the ball in a game. It's just the way it is. So far, they've really been hitting on the running game. And now you may see that again next week, again this week against Washington. You know, whatever. The beauty is you have some options. I'll tell you the one thing to really watch out for in this Washington game. So they gave up 9 sacks last week, Derek. They've given up 19 on the season. This Eagles defensive line could have an absolute freaking field day with this Washington O-line.
When they faced Carson Wentz last year, how many did they get on Carson? 9?
Yeah, it was a ton.
9 in 1 game?
Yeah.
I want to know, they've given up 19 in 3 games. I want to know how much of that is Sam Howell seeing ghost.
Yep. And simply holding the ball too long.
Holding the ball too long, you know. He's athletic. He has a nice arm. He's got weapons, but then again, he's a young quarterback going through growing pains.
Yep.
Is he seeing ghosts? Is he holding the ball too long?
Mhm.
You know, I wonder how many of those are directly related to the 19 sacks that Washington's offensive line. Now, we know Washington's offensive line had its issues. They didn't really fix a lot of the problems along their offensive line this year.
Yeah.
So it's still going to be a problem. Okay. But how much of that is coupled in with the fact that Sam Howell is still learning how to read a defense, as Jalen Hurts did, as Josh Allen did his first year, as Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers? They all go through that growing spell their first year that they assume the role as the star. Look, Jordan Love right now. They're all going through that, you know?
Yeah.
They'll learn. Eventually, they'll learn. If they're going to survive in the National Football League, not just as a quarterback, but as a starting quarterback in this league, in a league that is already watered down of talent at the quarterback position, you'll learn. You either learn or you're going to be a habitual journeyman.
Right. Or you'll be gone soon.
You'll be gone. You know, look at Carson Wentz is still in his prime. Nobody wants to touch him right now.
Yep. He's not even on a roster.
Nope.
He's not on a roster. Yep. I know. It is that kind of league, man. It is the not for long league. There no truer words have ever been spoken. Who was it? Jerry Glanville,
Yeah.
I think, who said it. He was right on with that one, man.
All
right, let's come back.
Things were not for long.
Yeah. Let's come back. Yes, Derek, we are going to give the special teams love.
Special teams
Love. Britton Covey deserves props. You can always heap praise on Jake Elliott, who was money again last night. And I thought the kick off, not that there was much opportunity, and the punt, I should make that singular because there was only one. But anyway, I thought in general, we're seeing better output from Michael Clay's bunch. So we'll give the special teams a little love when we come back. We'll give them a touch. We'll also mention Phillies can clinch it tonight, Derek. They can clinch a playoff spot with a win tonight. Magic number is 1, a win from them, and they start before the other teams tonight. They start at 6:40, so they can have it locked down before and not need the help from others if they do their thing. Yep. So we'll talk about that. Nola's on the mound, and you may cringe at first when you hear that, but Nola was on the mound when they clinched it last year in Houston, and he dealt. So let's talk about all that.
Wait. Don't make that comparison. Nola pitched much differently last year than he has this year.
Couldn't I just get away with that one? Couldn't I let that one go?
You know I'm not letting that
I was trying to convince myself more than anything else about that one, okay?
No, the only good thing about who are they playing? The Pirates tonight?
Correct.
Okay, I'll give him that. He'll have a good outing against the Pirates. I'll give him that one.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it when we get back. Don't go anywhere. And by the way, NFL stuff, there's tons about NFL stuff, which we'll get to. That's Derek Gunn. I'm Rob Ellis. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you about the great people at Pro Action Restoration. All right. So if you have a flood, if you have a fire, if you have mold damage, if you have smoke damage, you're not equipped for that, right? You don't know what to do. I got the people that you reach out to. And Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist you. I went through it on a Saturday, and it was a Saturday morning, and it was a mess. I get a call from my parents that their basement is flooded. I get over there. We're bailing water. It's a nightmare. And we ended up, I said, we can't keep doing this. So I call, because they were having this problem habitually. I call Pro Action Restoration. Not only do they answer the phone, they're out there, like that. So they get over there, they clean it up. The price is right. The crew was great. It was, my parents were relieved. It was a huge, huge help. It was a huge burden lifted off their shoulders. Now, the good thing is also Pro Action Restoration is licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They serve the tri-state area, and they have been for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So again, water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's